It's hard to really appreciate the true genius of Kurosawa, I think, until you've seen a few of the films and then you've been able to see other films at the same time and be able to realize his visual style. My favorite of all time is really Seven Samurai. Then maybe Yojimbo and then Akira and maybe Hidden Fortress.
Second off, I kind of just wanted to start with a broad-based question.
Okay.
For Toru, what inspired you to make this film? What was that deciding factor of, okay, I need to make this film? And then Ed, why did you want to join the project?
Okay. Before we start all that, I just want to let you know I'm in Mexico right now, and
Okay.
it's been 4 or 5 days, and I think I got food poisoning. So I've been kind of sleeping for the entire past 3 days or so. So just in case, I might have to run to the bathroom quickly sometimes. So
That's okay.
just a heads up.
No, that's okay.
So unprofessional, Toru. I'm so sorry.
I think it's street tacos. When I got here, I was like, oh, I have to try street tacos. And I went out on the street, and next day I just couldn't get up. So
Oh gosh.
yeah,
Well, hopefully you feel
yeah,
better soon. Fingers crossed.
yeah. Sorry to cut you off.
No.
Your question was why I decided to do this, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so it's I actually made a BTS video too, and I talked about it in that video too. But in general, I don't remember. It's been a while since I got this idea, so I don't remember the exact moment how I got this idea. But definitely the biggest inspiration was Star Wars animation series Visions. I don't know if you're
Yeah, definitely. Love that show. Yeah.
and I started watching when the trailer came out. I thought, oh, this is really cool. It's Japanese animation style with Star Wars topic. And then when I watched the first episode, yeah, I definitely got this inspiration from the episode one. And like I'm an actor who specialized in Japanese sword skill. So I thought maybe I can do something similar, but in live action version.
Yeah, I definitely picked up on the Visions influence, especially that the first one, the duel. I really like that. I definitely have some follow-up questions about that. But yeah, Ed, I wanted to get your perspective. What made you wanna join this project?
Oh, well, Toru asked me, and that was it. No, yeah, Toru asked, and he's a very talented guy who I've not collaborated with before, but was pretty familiar with his work, and I thought it'd be super fun. Also, I'm still a little bit of a Star Wars fan, so any opportunity to work on anything Star Wars related is always super fun.
He's definitely lying. I've been to his place, but his room is full of Star Wars goods and items. So
it's not all Star Wars, but
yeah.
a chunk of it is, yeah.
Yeah.
But
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say it's also my first Star Wars project to work on. It's the first Star Wars project I've worked on of any kind since I think what's it been 18 years. And I think Toru had this in this BTS video too, but I did a little fan film of my own, which is just awful. And I only ever made a trailer for it, but some friends and I had gotten together over the summer of 2005 when Revenge of the Sith came out, and we decided, hey, let's make our own Star Wars film, and it was a terrible idea, but yeah, no, it's been a hot minute, and figured that would also just be fun to do something Star Wars related in over 15 years.
No, I bet, and that love for Star Wars definitely shines through both in your work and more generally the short. Toru, I wanted to ask a follow-up question in regards to Star Wars Visions there. I definitely was thinking of Star Wars Visions as we were watching the short film, not only visually but kind of thematically, especially that first episode you mentioned, the duel there. In some ways, the short film kind of feels like a live action installment of Visions. Was that your intention in crafting the film?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, yeah, that was definitely the biggest inspiration. And I remember there was so episode one was, I'm guessing definitely their inspiration was Kurosawa film. And then I think there was another episode where Master Jedi and Apprentice Jedi, they go somewhere to find this Sith, dark energy. And
the
they meet
Elder, I think.
Yeah, the Elder. Yeah. So like those two combined together, that was my inspiration for this film.
Yeah, you definitely feel the kind of threads from both the duel and the Elder there.
Yeah, and also just to add it, having Ed was really helpful because I do like Star Wars. I've like when I was growing up, episode 1, 2, 3 were coming out, so I watched those in theater. But I wouldn't call myself like a super fan of Star Wars, and having someone like Ed who actually really knows about Star Wars really helped me complete this project.
And you see that level of detail in the choreography and the visual effects. I'm curious what went into the visuals behind the lightsaber duels. There's such rich detail there, when the colors clash, down to the sparks, feeling that impact of the hit. I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about what it was like to work on the visual effects behind the lightsaber action.
Yeah, no, it was super fun. I mean, as far as at least the choreography itself goes, that was definitely something that Toru and Kendall, the Jedi apprentice, that was something that went on between them, and I don't know anywhere near enough about sword choreography to have any input on that, but at least as far as the lightsaber VFX themselves go, those are super fun to work on, and I went into maybe a little bit of detail on this for Toru's BTS video, but I know one of the things I really liked about the sequels were some of the additional details, in particular like the spark hits for the lightsaber impacts, and also some of the really cool practical interactive lighting where they actually had saber blades that actually lit up, and especially during dark scenes or nighttime scenes that really shine through. And I was hoping to capture at least some of that on set. Granted, in this particular instance, we're shooting in broad daylight under the hot beating sun, but in certain instances where the actors had a fair amount of shadow on their faces and blades were close to them. In particular, I think that the one hero shot where Kendall puts his saber really close to Toru's face, I actually I had a reflector on set, and so I tried to get some actual practical light on there for that. And then I tried to fake it as much as possible in other instances where we just couldn't do that on set. So I did some of that stuff in post as well. And then it was a combination of some particle effects and then also just some stock footage of spark hits that I used for the spark hits for the lightsaber impacts. And then keeping the lightsaber colors in there, that was actually Toru's idea as well, which I thought was just a great thing to do. And we did experiment with a few different colors over the course of post-production, but ultimately Toru decided to stick with the classic green and blue, which that looked great. So yeah, and it was just overall super fun, especially for having not done it in a while. And that was another thing too. They Andrew Kramer of videocopilot.net, who provided pretty much virtually all the my foundational knowledge for VFX. 15 years ago, he came out with this really wonderful plugin called Saber, aptly named Saber, which just made the lightsabers themselves so much easier to deal with than when I last fiddled around with them, which was involved a much more intensive rotoscope process, which there was still a bit labor intensive, but that whole process was far more streamlined than when I had last done any of this stuff. So that was super helpful.
No, it definitely comes together so seamlessly. And I love Toru. I love the contrast that you capture with the kind of black and white Kurosawa aesthetic, with the hues, the blues, and the greens of the lightsabers. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about the kind of visual language that you crafted with this film. Why was it important for you to have it be in black and white and yet have the lightsabers kind of shine through as these kind of rare points of color?
First of all, I thought it's really cool, just simply speaking. But I knew Star Wars, George Lucas was heavily influenced by Japanese samurai cinema, mainly Kurosawa films. And for that reason, I wanted to have as much Japanese samurai film element as possible. And so including even sword choreography, I tried to, my goal was to make it entertaining, but to make it realistic as well, which is very difficult to do when it comes to sword choreography. So what I learned myself is it's called Katori Shintoryu. I started learning that style when I started learning any sword style. And actually, I don't know if this is true, but a lot of people say Star Wars took a lot of ideas from that specific style. So if you actually go to YouTube and type Katori Shintoryu space lightsaber, some people have actually put lightsaber effect on those like traditional kata, which is a form. And so, my co-star Kendall Wells, he's also very he's learned a lot about Japanese sword as well. So we kind of combined our knowledge together, and here and there you can tell, if you know a lot about Japanese martial arts, you can tell there's a little things here and there in the choreography too.
That's really neat. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And once again speaks to the level of detail that you kind of infused in this project. It's very clear that you both have this deep-rooted love for Star Wars. And one of the things that I think is so beautiful about Star Wars is that different eras, different stories, different characters resonate with different people. So I'm curious, just speaking of your own kind of love for the franchise, do you guys have a particular kind of story or project or era or character or something like that you lean towards? You have some people who, like you said, Toru grew up with the prequels and enjoyed the prequels. Some people more the sequel trilogy. What kind of corner of the Star Wars galaxy resonates mostly with you guys?
Ed, you want to go
first? Sure. I'm a original trilogy guy, but my dad had those A New Hope, Empire, and Return on VHS, and Lord knows how much of that of those tapes I ran through. And then, well, he had those recorded. He had his own recordings of those, and then my mom later bought just a box set of the original cuts of the original trilogy on VHS that I also just ran through. I think I actually ruined the tape of A New Hope. Empire, admittedly, is my favorite, but otherwise, I just was gifted. I got an early birthday present from my little sister of a copy of the Knights of the Old Republic for the Switch, which I played on the original Xbox. That was, I think, it was Halo and the first Knights of the Old Republic were my first Xbox games. So really big fan of the first two KOTOR games. Keeping my fingers crossed for that KOTOR remake. I really hope that ends up being good. But original trilogy era and then 4,000 plus years pre Republic, but or pre original trilogy rather. And then I really liked Andor, which also I guess is technically around original trilogy, but yeah, that's my thing. But I'm a big fan of the franchise overall.
As for
I'm with
me,
you.
oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. You
Go ahead. Yeah, as for me, I would say, of course, the first movies that Star Wars movies that I watched was Episode 4 to 6. I remember I grew up in Japan, so when I was in Japan, I used to bike to this video rental store, and I think it was probably one of the first films that I rented from the store, and I really enjoyed it. And then I would say Episode 1 was definitely my favorite film because I clearly remember watching it in theater, and that fight between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn were really, really awesome. And I still remember when they had a trailer on Japanese TV. It was dubbed, and Obi-Wan saying, "Master!" That I somehow remember that live very clearly in the trailer that was played over and over on Japanese TV.
I love that. I feel like I land somewhere in the middle of you two, because I'm also original trilogy guy, Empire for me, but also Knights of the Old Republic is so good. And then Phantom Menace just has that brilliant duel at the end, Toru. So I'm with you there too.
Yeah.
Given that you both then have worked on a short film like this, I'm curious what advice you would give to other filmmakers, other Star Wars fans who wish to make their own Star Wars inspired short film. What advice would you give them?
I guess for me, it's like something like this. Most likely, you're not gonna be able to make like actual money off of it. So you have to be really passionate about it. So if you are the person who is like in charge of organizing and doing everything, it's very important to find people who can be as passionate as you. Otherwise, if everything is coming out of your pocket, and if you don't have too much budget that you can offer, you don't want to feel like people are asking you a lot of favor. Like you want to be able to provide an opportunity for people to like actually like really enjoy creating with you. So I think that's one of the most important things. If you are the person who is in charge of everything, like producing.
Yeah, Ed, I'm wondering if you have any thoughts or advice on someone who, aspiring filmmaker, someone who wishes to make a similar short film. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say do what you can to come up with a really cool, interesting story with some fun, interesting characters. Because I mean, I love doing visual effects, but I think George Lucas, and I'm sure other filmmakers have said this, but I know George Lucas in particular said that a visual effect without a story is a pretty boring thing. So as cool as it is to add lightsabers and and all that stuff, it's really a testament to Toru and the rest of the team that just the short film came out as good as it did, because Toru and Kendall just have a really nice on-screen chemistry, and there's just a fun little story there with these two Jedi trying to find a possible Jedi candidate. And the stuff that I added it doesn't really matter much if a nice foundation isn't there that Toru really provided. So yeah, I think come up with something really cool and story driven. Doesn't have to be anything too terribly complex, but because at this point anybody can add lightsabers to anything, and that'll look cool, but and some possibly cool choreography, but at the end of the day, none of that really matters if there aren't some characters you're not invested in, or if there are no characters you're invested in that you really end up really caring about. It's like if Luke and Vader fighting in Cloud City and Empire, that stuff still looks really cool, but you're invested as Luke is a character, and Luke is a character at this point. And then of course Vader, spoiler alert, being his dad, that was a pretty dramatically my bad, Toru, I'm sorry. But just come up with a really cool story and some hopefully interesting characters.
Yeah, hopefully other fans take that advice to heart. Toru, I wanted to ask you, kind of orienting forward, that your short ends on this, not a cliffhanger, but definitely there's potential there for the story to grow, given that this new Jedi has joined this master and apprentice. I'm curious if you put any substantial thought into what a follow-up to your short would look like, and if you had the opportunity, if you would do something like that.
Yeah, I would love to do episode 2 or episode 3. Actually, I actually already wrote out outline of episode 2 and episode 3, but this was just of course the first video had to do well, otherwise I don't think I wouldn't say there's no point of making it, but if people are not really enjoying it, I'm not going to be encouraged to make episode 2. But so far, I think since we released, we've been getting a lot of great reaction. So yeah, I think I'm gonna try to do episode 2 and maybe hopefully episode 3. Yeah, I don't know. Do you want me to talk about the idea coming forward, or?
I mean, if you're receptive to that, I don't want to have you dive into any spoilery content there, but
yeah, yeah, eventually I want these two characters, samurai characters and a Princess Jedi character, to fight together against some kind of Sith, right? So in order to get to that point, I want to grow some chemistry and more storyline between them.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm all in for that. So I really hope that comes to fruition and we get to see that soon.
Yeah, hopefully it's especially for this kind of YouTube stuff, it's really difficult to just get the budget from your revenue from the video. Even right now, so the first video, it's doing, especially for my channel, it's doing really well. But even if your view gets to like 100K or 200K, the most you can make is probably like $100 to $200, I think. So if I can find a way to actually find a sponsorship, or if some companies are interested in investing a little money, I think I might be able to do episode 2. Yeah, which it will be kind of difficult, but I think I'll try it.
I really hope you do, and fingers crossed that comes to fruition. No, I wanted to thank you both for being able to speak with me, and Like I said, I think that your film is excellent and is going to resonate with so many people. So yeah, thank you so much for all your time and your thoughtful answers.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much for having us.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
Live long and prosper. I mean, that
too.
other thing.
Yeah, the other star.